Hi there and welcome. My name is Barbara Waters. I am the Associate Director of Special Projects for the Connecticut Green Bank. And today we are going to review questions that were sent to us regarding our RFP for diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants. I will be sending you, I will be going through the questions. At the end, after the answers, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. During the session, if you have any other questions, you can also put them into the chat. So I'm going to start right now. And hold on one second. Rudy, can you mute for a second? Okay. Never mind. We're good. Sorry, we're just trying to get our panelists on, and they were going into the wrong groups. Okay, so sorry about that, and I'll start off with the question. So these are the questions that we received. Who would you identify as the primary and secondary stakeholders? We read the RFP as workforce as primary and contractors, external partners as secondary. Would this be accurate? Actually, we're looking to start our efforts with a primary focus on staff and a secondary focus on the board of directors. For this RFP, we recognize that there's work to do with contractors and external partners, but we feel that that is sort of a next phase of our work in DEI. Next question, does the the Connecticut Green Bank DEI team report directly to the CEO? And yes, we do. And the DEI team currently consists of representatives from HR/operations, accounting, marketing, and our investment team. So we did add people since we've met with each of you. We wanted to have a more broad group that would be from different groups within the organization. The next question is the intention for every individual in the company, including C-suite, senior managers, mid-level management and staff, take part in the culture assessment trainings and the overall DEI and B work? And the answer to that is yes. We want everyone in the company to take part. And is there an opportunity to engage the board of directors in the assessment and resulting culture work as the governance of the Connecticut Green Bank? And yes, we would like to engage the board of directors in that. Next question. Just scrolling down. With the recent redrafting of the organization's mission, vision, and goals, were employees provided an opportunity to weigh in? They weighed in with regards to feedback. The mission, vision, and goals reframing were driven by the board of directors at a strategic planning session with employee feedback. So it was the feedback was requested after the conversation was had as a strategic planning session. Eric, is there anything else you want to add into that? Eric is muted. There he is.
Hi, sorry about that. No, I think that was good.
Okay. Next question, do employees have access to leadership in the day-to-day workflow? And the answer is yes, and across departments and projects. Obviously, one of the things that we'll provide to the agency is a org chart, and you'll be able to see that we're a very flat organization and that our senior executives and senior management gets involved in a lot of projects. So the staff has a lot of exposure to them, and they are heavily involved. A senior staff is heavily involved with the career development, employee engagement, conflict resolution, succession planning, and retention for those employees. Eric, anything else you want to add?
No, I think that we're a very flat organization with a very engaged management team.
Yes, yes, and as part of that, part of the the staff employees, I would say that yes, that is very true. What feedback tools have been used historically to capture employee feedback and sentiment? We are launching an employee engagement survey in February. And generally morale and satisfaction have been very high. And part of that, we did do some surveys during COVID to get a sense of where our employees were with regards to working remotely. And the employees seemed to be handling that remote work very well. There were very few issues and complaints with regards to being remote, but they had a high level of satisfaction in terms of how the company was managing the remote work. And Eric, anything else about that?
Nope.
Okay. In addition to having partnerships with existing energy companies, what other community partners does Connecticut Green Bank engage with? And this is for Peter. And Peter wrote that we work with a variety of municipalities, nonprofits, universities, trade and industry groups, and state agencies. While a comprehensive list is not provided here, we are happy to talk about this in more detail. Peter, anything else you want to add to that? And you're on mute.
I mean, not offhand. If there's a specific question, happy to do that. I think it's kind of an open-ended question. So
it is. They're saying, is the focus on energy efficiency and/or energy efficiency financing education?
I would say not really. The focus is on finding efficient ways to deploy capital and get projects done. There is an educational component to that, but there's definitely like an outreach or community kind of education component, but I don't know that that's, maybe Eric, you've been at the Green Bank longer, you could speak to this. I don't feel like that's often our primary role.
I think it depends on the situation. I think that there many times we're working to help educate the market and help it evolve. But that is often with the focus of how are we getting capital flows to be as efficient as possible. So I think back to the early days of solar, where we were expending a lot of our efforts and a lot of our resources on helping educate the marketplace and educate consumers on solar. How does this work? And that's kind of where we're coming back to almost full circle with energy solar, which is related on deployment. But that said, we are also partnering with these organizations to deploy capital and to help them reduce their carbon footprint and costs in their operations.
Okay, and then the next part of that question was there any awareness being driven about becoming part of CT Green Bank employee opportunities, external partners, or contractors? Either Peter or Eric. I'm not aware of any awareness around that.
I mean, if the question is it seems like the question is maybe inferring whether we could do more to ensure that a wider range of communities or folks hear about job postings or opportunities to work on projects as like a partner or a contractor. I would say, yes, there's work to do there. And we have a big pool of contractors and other kinds of capital partners and community engagement groups, but there's always opportunities to build that network out more.
Okay.
And just to add on to that, reaching as wide of a group is always our goal. I think that we've made efforts in the past to do that, and I think we're always looking for new ways to expand our reach, both be that if we're looking for a vendor, if we're looking for a partner, or when we are recruiting.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next question, are there any budget guideposts for this program? Is there any kind of a band or any kind of a range that we want to give? What kind of budget guidance do we want to give, Eric?
I mean, we put together some ballpark numbers a couple of years ago, so I have some numbers in mind, but I think that they were kind of there was a big range in what we got when we put that together. I want to say that I think we're committed, or I don't think we're committed. I know that we're committed to doing this. And so we'll find the resources to implement a program that helps advance our organization. I think that we recognize this is the first of many steps, and while we may be limited in resources in a specific time frame, we'll find ways to implement this as part of a longer project if somebody comes in with something that we love that we don't have resources for. That said, I think set aside a good budget. So please bring us your proposals, and we'll figure out how we go from there.
Okay, thanks, Eric. The last question was, under the proposal format, the RFP notes no more than 7, well, it's a typo, give 7 pages. Can you please clarify the max number of pages? I'd like to keep it to 7 pages, but at the same time, if you are really struggling to get across what you want to say to us, and with a 7-page limit, please let me know. And then if we open it up, we'll open it up to everybody and let everybody know. So that's all the questions we received. Are there any other questions that people attending the webinar have right now? You can either put them in the chat or you can raise your hand and we'll open your mic. Okay. I'm not seeing any hands being raised, and I'm not seeing any questions being put into the chat. Let me see. Nope. All right, so we're going to end this. And moving forward, what will happen is that we'll post this on.
Barbara, hold on 1 second. You have a question.
Okay. Okay.
So the question is, per month, how often do you see your staff and/or DEI team meeting with your consultant?
I think it's going to depend on where we are in the project. And I think it depends on what kind of a meeting there might be. You know, there are certain meetings that may be more project focused, and there are certain meetings that may be more update focused. So it's hard to say. But I would say there would be ongoing conversations when we're implementing this program. We may be talking to them every day. And there may be other times when we're talking to them every 2 weeks. I'd like to see some kind of a regular meeting where everyone who's involved with the project can get on a call probably once a month as we're working through this. But there will be a lot of communication. Eric or Peter, any other thoughts about that?
I mean, I think as we're kicking off, this is going to be more labor intensive, and then, yeah, once we get something implemented, I imagine that will slow down. But yeah, I mean, if the question is about the commitment of our resources, I mean, and our staff, I mean, I'll volunteer whoever I need to volunteer to be involved to make sure that we get something that's high quality and rolled out.
So the person who asked that question followed up by saying that she's thinking of formal engagements outside of regular communications. So can you guys give any sense of formally, you know, what you anticipate the structure being?
To be honest, I haven't put a whole lot of thought as to how I expect that to be implemented or rolled out. I kind of defer to the consultants to let us know what they need. And I'm happy to support that.
Okay, so another question that came in, wouldn't the implementation be based on the findings?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Wouldn't the implementation be based on the findings?
Yes. I mean, the findings is what has to come first. We
Okay,
have
great.
to do this. We have to do the research to figure out what we need to do.
Perfect. So we had a question. I'm actually going to unmute Rosita.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rosita. I think.
Thank you so much. This is the first time I've ever used this kind of a scenario where I'm not seeing faces, and it was hard for me to even find the chat box. So, so thank you. I'm used to Zoom and Meet, you know. But anyway, the question has to do with actually the submittal of the executive summary. You have in number 1 the general background of the contractor, including the history and number of employees. And then you say clients and retail projects evaluated. Can you tell me, please, what you mean by that?
Just hold on a second. And say that again. What's your which part of it you're looking
It's
at?
the proposal format on
Yep.
page 5.
Yep.
It's item number 1 under the executive summary.
General background.
Well, no, that I understand, but then it says there's a piece of it there right after number of employees. It says clients and retail projects evaluated. As a consultant, I don't evaluate my own projects. So, you know, that it's usually up to the client to decide whether they're going to be evaluating. I mean, they do monitor the implementation process, but this makes no sense to me. And also the fact of retail, was this just a you know, something you took from another RFP maybe?
It might have been in the boilerplate.
Yeah, okay.
I would
because it
say
doesn't make sense with a DEI project. That's all.
No, understood what you're saying. I guess what we're looking for is there, and thank you for bringing that up. I would get a sense of we're getting some clients for reference, but I guess we'd like to understand some projects that you have, some case studies. What I'm looking for there are some case studies, which that you can provide for us.
What I'm used to providing is kind of blurbs on the projects that we've completed or that we are currently involved in, like, you know, like little paragraphs. I don't know that it's a full case study.
Yeah, I wouldn't say case study may be the wrong term. We're just looking for sort of, we worked with this company.
Okay.
This is what, yes. And a sense of, you know, what they're, and understand that sometimes it might be confidential in terms of the company, especially if you're still working with them, but to be able to say we're working with, you know, this type of company in this you know, size, this is the work, this is what came out of the survey, this is the kind of work that we're doing for them. And if you finished it, you know, talk about what kind of results that you saw.
Okay, I will give you an example, but the analysis of just one of those is approximately 52 pages long.
Wow.
So, I mean, because it is an in-depth, you know, analysis with regards to the culture of an organization, looking at the board, looking at leadership, looking at mid-management, you know, so that doesn't render itself to a, so I don't mean to be difficult, but I really want to make sure that I address your needs, and I don't understand this.
I think that if you give us an overview, right, if you give us the overview that we're looking for, and again, because it's kind of saying we want it in 7 pages, obviously there's other stuff that's in there. We're not looking to go through 52 pages.
Right.
If we find something that we think is kind of interesting that we want to learn a little bit more about, we could reach out to you.
Right. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. And the only other question I have is under the cost of services, okay, there is a piece that you say the proposed cost for the completion of this project in its entirety, cost estimates will be considered as not to exceed quotations. Somewhere else, there was an hourly an hourly wage, which is insert hourly rate type of thing. Oh, and
That's in the agreement. That's in the
Okay.
agreement. And so what
Okay.
will happen is we talk about inserting the hourly rate. If we agree that there's this large project and that
Right.
you're going to charge X amount of money for this large project, we can change the agreement to match that.
Okay, perfect, because I was a little
Okay.
bit confused there,
Yeah.
whether you were looking for a total budget cost, which is what I normally give as a project
Yes.
cost. Okay,
That's what we're looking for. That's just, again, that contract is to give you a sense of the terms and conditions that we're going to ask you to sign.
yeah.
And anything in yellow is the stuff that gets customized. So that's in yellow, so we can change the way that it's just about how we pay you.
Okay, not a
Okay.
problem. Yes, thank you
Okay.
so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'm going to keep an eye on that and probably change the boilerplate. Any other questions? Anybody, Rudy?
No, you're good.
Okay. All right. So I'll take some notes, the notes that we've gotten for these questions. We'll post them on our website and also with a link to this webinar if you want to hear it again. And with that, I think we're closed. Feel free, if anyone has any other questions that come up subsequent to this, reach out to me. I will answer the question and I'll post it. I'll keep a running tab on the document on the website. And please keep in mind that we're looking for all your submissions by Tuesday, February 22nd at 5 p.m. and you can send them directly to me. Thank you very much. We appreciate your interest in our proposal and we're looking forward to hearing from all of you. Have a great rest of your day.